Good day. My name is Dr. Marco Scholtz, and I'm a lecturer and researcher in innovative tourism at the Thomas More University of Applied Sciences in Belgium. The title of the presentation today is The Role of Big Data in Tourism and Storytelling. The things we'll look at today includes the importance of tourism and the importance of tourism data, as well as the limitations of current tourism data sets and giving us a clear indication of what's going on in tourism. After that, we'll start discussing what big data is, how big data forms part of tourism, and the specific tourism benefits from big data. We'll also take a quick look at who makes use of big data. We'll look at a few examples of big data use, and we'll look at a case of United Nations World Tourism Organization's use of big data to tell their tourism stories. So firstly, why is tourism important? There are many, many reasons why tourism is important, but some of them include cultural preservation. Tourism promotes cultures and also creates pride in culture, so it becomes preserved. Environmental protection. People are becoming more environmentally friendly or conscious. They prefer more eco-friendly travels. It promotes peace and security because people from different cultures can get to know each other a bit better. It creates jobs, economic growth. It can lead to local development. And as you can see at the bottom, it supports 1 out of every 10 jobs, or supported 1 out of every 10 jobs, and also contributed 10% to the world GDP. But what about 2022 specifically, more recently? Tourism in 2022 contributed to 22 million new jobs globally, an increase of, or it contributed 7.6% of the global GDP. And it saw an 81.9% increase in international visitor spending on 2021. So tourism is really recovering after COVID. But what's the importance of tourism data? Firstly, tourism data can help us understand consumers and their preferences better, which means that we can provide the best products and services and also market them correctly. It can help us create policies. We can see where we need to enhance security, for instance, in a country. How can we approach visa regulations? Effective marketing, also part of the first one we mentioned. Effective marketing means that you really reach the people that you mean to reach. And it's also done in a cost-effective way. Then effective management of products and services. How do you provide the best services? So data can tell you what to do, what should improve, or what should change. Then the tourism industry's economic impact. This is important to know because we want to know the impact of tourism. Like, does it really contribute to a specific region where it takes place? Then we can look at the economic impact to see if tourists are actually helping to grow the economy, and do the rest of the residents also receive a bit of that income from tourism? Then also it promotes sustainable consumptive and non-consumptive use of the environment. It creates more regulations about how the environment should be approached, which is a bit more eco-friendly. And then also it helps us understand the social impacts of tourism a bit better. The communities that live in regions where tourism takes place form the backbone of the tourism industry. If they do not support tourism, then tourism will most likely fail. So this is what data helps us with. But there are some limitations with the current data sets that we work with. Firstly, small samples are less representative. So we cannot say that the whole population is exactly the same as the people that we spoke to or distributed questionnaires to. This data is not always accurate. It's more of a guesstimate. It causes delayed measurements and reactions to real world situations, which leads to delayed recognition of changes or new trends or risks. When working with traditional data, we will first, in the real world, need to observe certain changes, and then we can put a research study together and collect data about it, which takes time, which delays choices being made. So it makes it a bit difficult. So delayed decision making. And this makes businesses less competitive than others that use other forms of data. So could big data perhaps provide better data? And in many cases, it really can, but we'll look at more information about this. But shortly, what is big data? Big data is a combination of old and new technologies that provide companies or businesses with actionable insights. Actionable insights means that they can see insights into it, they understand it a bit better, and they can take actions to improve it or change certain things. So actionable insights that can lead to competitive advantage. So they can stand out above their competition. So one business can seem better than the other and thus improve their clientele. So big data involves the capability to manage a large volume of disparate or varied data forms. This means that big data involves a lot of data, but not just a single form of data. It's various different forms of data, which is difficult for the average human to understand. And it does so at the correct speed or velocity in the right time frame to allow real-time analysis and reactions. So as things are happening in the world, big data can pick it up immediately. We can see the outcome of it and we can make immediate changes. And this takes place automatically because us as humans cannot really compute big data, but therefore we need AI or artificial intelligence and machine learning, for instance, to help us better understand it. But how does big data fit into tourism? Well, big data can help tourism businesses, firstly, to obtain a competitive advantage, and then also to obtain customer loyalty. And it does this by improving the current understanding of consumers. So if we know exactly where people are from, where they'd like to go to, how they'd like to travel there, the type of amenities that they prefer there, we can improve marketing, and we can also decide what types of prices will be correct to ask there. And then secondly, big data can swiftly identify changing industry patterns and trends as opposed to traditional data sets. It can examine things like disruptive innovations, such as the sharing economy, which includes things like Airbnb and Uber, where people actually share their belongings, basically, or services. It can also make us understand natural disasters or health disasters like the COVID-19 impact. Like the moment it happened, we already had data, and some companies could already start making changes to their offering services and products. Then it's also used for making calculated industry predictions. When a company needs to get ready for the next financial year, they already need to start planning for the type of market that they will work with. How will seasonality influence them? How many visitors will a specific attraction have, or what will the bed occupancy rate be of an hotel? And big data can help us determine such things with quite a good accuracy. And then in the end, when you take these three things together, you get improved accuracy of decision making. So that's when you get companies or tourism businesses that are competitive, and they get customer loyalty, meaning that they get higher levels of revenue. So what are the specific tourism benefits from big data? Here are some examples. So firstly, revenue management. It can predict the amount of profit that an event in future will, for instance, generate based on predicted number of attendees. So it can check how many attendees were there previously, what was the current trend of attendees attending festivals or events, and then predict the number. Another example is it can determine a hotel's occupancy rate in the following season, so the upcoming season, by looking at the trends previously and how different things influence those trends. Then also reputation management. It can analyze consumers' interactions on location as well as online, and then identify the business's strengths and weaknesses. And then the businesses can adopt according to this to increase their reputation or improve it. Then it can provide targeted marketing. It allows us to better understand consumers' preferences. And in many cases, it can create automatic personalized marketing messages. Think about when you scroll through social media, if you use social media, many times advertisements will come up. It might not be something that you were necessarily searching for, but yet it still kind of pulls your interest because they know what you are looking at. They analyze your searches and things that you look at on social media. So that gives targeted marketing. So you pay a certain amount and you reach the target market that you would like to reach. Then it enhances customer experiences. So travel agencies, accommodation and car hire agencies can provide personalized amenities to its guests. And when you provide things that people actually want, then people are satisfied with your service, meaning that they will come back and recommend your business. But you might be wondering who actually makes use of big data. Many companies in the tourism industry does, especially bigger companies. You have hotel chains such as Marriott. There are other hotels as well, but Marriott hotels, for instance, for their services and pricing structure, bed occupancy. Then in the sharing economy with Uber and Airbnb. Then you have governmental organizations and NGOs like the UNWTO, or United Nations World Tourism Organization. And then also a small organization, for instance, like Tourism Flanders from Belgium, which provides local tourism numbers. Then also you have digital travel agencies with names that you probably know, like Cheap Flights, Expedia, Booking.com, TripAdvisor, for instance. There are many others as well, but these groups specifically make use of big data. So I'll just provide some examples of where big data was actually used within these companies. The first example is in United Airlines, and their big data program was called Encourage Loyalty. So it examines the consumer's profile, like previous purchases and their preferences, and then it tailor makes recommendations for them when they do bookings to see or to help them obtain best experience. Then the second example, EasyJet, their program was called Deploy AI. Artificial intelligence analyzes the different routes, the demand of the routes, and the pricing sensitivity of the customers, then automatically adjusts the prices of tickets. This is also applicable to airlines such as Ryanair. If you just Google how Ryanair operates on YouTube, for instance, you'll see how this pricing structure works. And that's how you sometimes get a flight ticket for like as low as less than 10 euros. Then example 3, the Taj Hotel. They receive service feedback from guests, and the software analyzes automatically. It shows the weak points, and this is automatically then integrated into future staff training. Then Delta Airlines bag tracking. Delta Airlines provides customers with the opportunity or with the capability to track their bags with the same software that the ground staff actually uses. So it's very accurate and it provides a good service. But there's one type of area where we'll dive a bit deeper in so that you can understand big data use a bit better. And this is the case of the United Nations World Tourism Organization's use of big data. And they use big data to tell stories to help different groups. So firstly, they generate market knowledge, they promote competitiveness, sustainable tourism policies and instruments, they foster tourism education and training, and work towards making tourism an effective development tool. So this organization exists to promote tourism, to grow tourism and the areas where tourism takes place, and also to help different companies to be part of tourism. So they work with super diverse, large amounts of data that they collect from all over the world. It's really big data. They collect information such as national, international arrivals, tourism receipts, which is the amount that people spend during their travels in the country that they're visiting. They look at people's travel motives, reasons why people travel to different places, and also to trends and changes in tourism. And this information is normally for governments, tourism organizations, tourism businesses, tourism managers and marketers, academics, travelers, and basically anyone who's interested in the information. So clear, concise, easy to understand delivery of information is needed through good storytelling. This is something that we need. Imagine you have a lot of information through a lot of big data, but you cannot present it to the people that need it. So you need something which is clear and concise. It should tell a story when looking at it. And the UNWTO actually succeeds in it, but we'll look at how they do this. Firstly, they have something that they call the WTO Barometer, and this is a document which is published fortnightly or every second month. And it's a premium document, meaning that you have to pay for this, and it gives you the latest tourism trends. And it's a document that you can download and read and then make short-term business decisions from. And it's very easy to follow. But secondly, they also have the International Tourism Highlights document. This is an annual document which is submitted or published as a PDF, which is free to use and download by anyone across the world. And it gives an annual summary of tourism changes across the world, and it provides you with all the information that you need, and it's very straightforward and easy to understand. Here's a short image of a small image just to show you some of the information that you can get from this. You do not have to be an expert on tourism to actually understand what they write in this report, which means that it's good storytelling. Then lastly, the tourism data dashboard. This is something that's really interesting when you, as a tourism manager or as a government official, needs to provide very specific or need to obtain very specific information. And here it provides key indicators for inbound and outbound tourism. It provides data on global, regional, and national levels. It provides data on tourist arrivals, tourism's share of exports, contribution to the global GDP or local GDPs. It tells you more about the source markets, so the markets or the countries from where people are traveling. It tells you more about the impact of seasonality, the state of accommodation, such as occupancy percentages, as well as changes in air travel. This dashboard is completely free to use. It has an interactive interface, which is also very straightforward. And it tells a very clear story of the tourism industry. So from here, you can see what types of information should show people who need the information. And also look at how straightforward they make the information. Here is an example of this. So you want to start a new tourism operation catering for international arrivals and decide to do so in Belgium. You continuously hear that tourism numbers are improving post-COVID times. However, you do not know what to expect. You can visit the UNWTO dashboard for a clearer picture of tourism. So you want to start a new business, but you do not know what the market will be like, and it's still recovering, but you kind of need to see what it might look like. So then you can use this service. So what you do is you open up this page when you just Google tourism dashboard. You click on inbound tourism because you want to see people coming into a specific country. You want to cater just for international, so you need to know how many internationals will come. And then you get to this screen, and then you should indicate here, please select a regional country. This will be then Europe. The country will be Belgium. And we wanted to look at a date before COVID so that we can see what tourist numbers were like and what they would kind of revert back to. So I put in 2019 here. And here you have a quick overview of what was happening in 2019. So in 2019, there were 9.3 million arrivals, international arrivals in Belgium. And when you look at this chart, you can actually see 2019 was way up here, and then COVID took place and it plummeted, and then it started increasing through 2021, and then suddenly it jumped back up through 2022. So you can see already tourism really is recovering, and you could perhaps look at 9.3 million international visitors for your business, potential visitors. But even before you go look at potential marketing information, you can already find some information here, like the arrivals by region of origin. So you will know that 84% of international arrivals to Belgium were Europeans, so that might still be the same. 8% were from the Americas, and 6% from Asia and the Pacific, while Africa and Middle East really are very, very small markets. You'll also be able to see seasonality on the graph to the right, international tourist arrivals per month. You can see from from March, it starts picking up towards April, and then in August, it reaches the high number of visitors. And this also clearly indicates spring and summer when it's nicer weather. And you can see it kind of goes down when the weather starts turning colder, especially in December. And then in January, you have the lowest arrival numbers, and that's also one of the coldest times of the year. Also, when you look at the top, you can immediately look at the receipts. Then you can see how much the groups spend when visiting here, the exports and the ranking, like where does Belgium stand within the different, among the different countries. So this is just a quick example of the storytelling that can take place through this website. And this is from an immense amount of data condensed into a small screen, which is useful for anyone who needs this information. And yeah, thank you for your attention. I hope that this presentation helped you understand the importance of tourism, the importance of big data in tourism, and how big data can contribute to storytelling within the tourism industry.